Friday, January 16th edition of the Carolina Weather Video. Meteorologist Matthew East here with you. Let's begin with a look at the Appalachian Ski Mountain web camera. The snow guns fired up this morning. Temperature there in Blowing Rock, 26 degrees. The wind chill of 19. The ski conditions, fantastic all around the region. If you have a ski trip planned this weekend, going to be really nice. In fact, even a little bit of natural snow on the way. Sunday behind our next cold front, which I'll talk about more in just a second. A lot to talk about in today's edition of the video, so let's get deeper into it here. There's your visibilities around the region, and again, in some spots this morning, we have some issues with freezing fog. Half a mile of visibility in Charlotte. It is about 5 miles of visibility in Fayetteville, a number of sites through the Charlotte Metro and through the southern half of the Triad viewing area, Randolph, Davidson, Montgomery, down through Anson, Stanley, Rowan, Cabarrus, Gaston, Mecklenburg, Lincoln, Cleveland counties. All these counties, Union County, seeing some pretty good fog this morning. So here's the advisory situation. Those blue shaded counties, that's a freezing fog advisory, and then a dense fog advisory for Charlotte and Mecklenburg, Cabarrus, Union counties. So, the bottom line is that there's some fog, and even though you don't see anything there for Davidson, Randolph, Montgomery counties, Stanley counties, you do have some freezing fog issues there. But this will be a very short-term issue. As you're watching this on Friday, by mid-morning, the fog should be gone. Temperatures chilly right now, but we're going to have some warmer air moving on in. It's going to feel like a heat wave over the next day or two, compared to what we've had for most of the week. Last night's rain, as expected, very light and spotty, and it is gone now offshore. Let me go to the more detailed radar imagery. There you go. Quiet now. And the rain really not really enough to measure over much of North Carolina, except in the southeastern part of the state, but it was enough to wet the pavement there through parts of the Piedmont and the foothill zones yesterday evening. And again, that rain is now offshore and heading further out into the Atlantic. And look upstream, things are very quiet, and we get a couple of very quiet weather days ahead. A couple of areas of high pressure off to the west of us, and that's going to continue to erode this low-level moisture that we have in place, and we'll wind up with a sunny sky today. And look at these highs. Not bad at all across the region. Your Saturday shaping up very nicely as well. High pressure building through the region. Your Saturday highs shape up just like that. So looking pretty good. Now as we get into Sunday, our next cold front approaches. This is midnight, overnight Saturday night into Sunday morning. Notice some rain developing through the eastern Carolinas. And this time around, it looks like the best chance of decent rain with that system roughly I-95 and points east to the coast. But then as the front moves through later in the day Sunday, anybody fair game to pick up a very brief shower. And there you can see some of that snow behind the cold front up there in the mountains too. But you notice again the biggest rain total certainly in the eastern parts of North Carolina. So this does not look like a huge rain event at all for the I-85 corridor Saturday night into Sunday, but certainly much better rain totals as you head east. Sunday's high temperatures, not bad at all. Cool in the mountains, pretty good across the Piedmont and the Sandhills. All right, late week. GFS model. Let's see, this is the, this is still the previous, the 0Z run of the GFS. And I'm going to show you the high resolution modeling now. All right, so here's what it looks like at 500 millibars off of the 0Z run of the GFS. I'm going to show you a lot of charts here, so stand by. You notice here, the energy coming out of the southwest stays fairly intact with this trough diving into the eastern part of the country on the 0Z run. Now on the most recent just in-house 6Z run, let me go back to right there. All right, so there's the 0Z run, here's the 6Z run. Notice the pieces of energy more separated, and so you really don't wind up with a decent system at all late week on the latest run of the GFS as I'm cutting this video. But let me take you through some charts here. Let's go with, first of all, the 0Z run of the GFS. Okay. Let's see what I stuck in here for that. All right, yeah, here we go. All right, so this is the 0Z run of the GFS from today, and this is valid Friday morning of next week. All right, and I'll just kind of step you through the time intervals here. So that's Friday morning. That's early Friday afternoon. We go to Friday evening. Snow flying on the 0Z run of the GFS over northernmost South Carolina and most of the western half of North Carolina. And then you go out to overnight Friday night into Saturday morning, and that area of snow slowly pivots eastward through the region. So total snow amounts that fall based off the GFS at 0Z run look like that. Now, when you take into account soil temperature and things like that and melting, this is the greatest snow depths with that 0Z run of the GFS. And again, all this is conjecture. I'm just showing you what the model was showing at that point in time. And I know that may be a little tough to see, but it's several inches of snow across the many spots in North Carolina. The European model also agreed with this general scenario. These were precip amounts, liquid equivalent precipitation amounts on the European model Thursday night into Friday morning. 850 millibar temperatures were sub-freezing, and so you wound up with some snow being indicated on the European model as well. These images all courtesy of weatherbell.com. Great site there. Now, the Canadian model also has a system, and it is also indicating some wintry precip around the region with that system too. Again, this is valid Friday morning, or actually early Friday afternoon. And there's your Canadian snow chart. Now again, the latest run of the GFS just in-house, and that has really, there's the latest GFS model, and it's suppressing that system off to the south due to the handling of the Energy 500 millibars I showed you a moment ago. So the bottom line is right now it looks like there's a pretty good chance of a system there Thursday night into Friday of next week. And if indeed the system does materialize, can't rule out some wintry weather prospects across parts of the region with that one. Something to keep an eye on as we move forward in time. One last thing to show you. This is the GFS ensemble. The ensemble mean 2-meter temperatures, basically surface temperatures in relation to average, the temperature anomaly. And this is days 7 to 12. That's a lot of cold air for the eastern part of the country. Here's days 10 to 15. It's even colder. So certainly looks like a pretty cold pattern, and maybe a cold and stormy pattern depending on how things set up as we get toward later on next week and maybe continuing into parts at least of the month of February. Okay, that is it for today's edition of the video. Everybody have a wonderful weekend, and God bless.